Buying a new or indeed a used car is one of the most important purchases we'll ever make. What do they say? It's second only to buying a house. Trouble is, for most of us, it can be almost as stressful. Despite the nightmare stories, not all car sellers are reptilian rogues and blow-dried villains. But to avoid buying the wrong car from the wrong person at the wrong price, you'll need to be properly prepared. So before you even so much as think about going out and opening any car doors, you'll need to decide what you want that car to do, how much you want to spend, and where you want to buy it from. As in all things in life, preparation is all.
Do you want your car to be built for speed or comfort, practicality or panache? Are you going to be spending most of your time cruising on motorways or cursing in traffic jams? Will you be driving alone or with your family? Do you want 2 doors, 3 doors or 5? No matter what your priorities, a vague picture of your dream car won't be enough. You need a thorough battle plan. If a low purchase price is your priority, you might think about looking in the local papers. In fact, over 40% of used cars sold in this country are bought privately from classified ads.
Now, it has to be said that some private advertisers ask the earth, but generally speaking, buying privately means you'll pay less than you do at a dealer. Other plus points include being face-to-face with the person that's owned and driven the car, so you can ask him or her lots and lots of questions, and the golden opportunity for some sporting negotiation. The downsides are that you'll get no warranty and precious little legal comeback if things do go wrong. And there's one other very real risk, and that's the chance of buying something that's dressed in borrowed clothes. Now, I don't want to scaremonger, but the incidence of ringed cars, that's cars that have been stolen and given fresh identities, turning up in the classified ads is becoming really rather dangerous. Another snag is that some people passing themselves off as private sellers are in fact dodgy traders, blokes who don't know their ethics from their elbows. In fact, one local authority estimated that over 8% of all classified ads for motor cars are put in there by dodgy dealers.
Traders are meant to identify themselves with a big, bold T at the end of the ad, but by no means all of them bother. So watch out for weasel words like first to see will buy, clean and straight, and part exchange considered.
When you're on the telephone responding to an ad from one of these, make sure you ask searching questions. Now, don't just say, I'm ringing about the Sierra, but say something like, I'm ringing about the car. That way, if the bloke's a part-time trader selling more than one car, he's going to say which one. The same thing applies when you're trying to find out about the car's condition. Don't ask easily dodged questions like, is the car in good nick? Any self-respecting seller's hardly going to say no, are they? But it's much better to say direct questions like, are there any dents, scratches or rust on the body? And if you get any umming and ahhing after a question like that, you know you've touched a nerve.
If you're not that knowledgeable about cars yourself, it's a good idea to take a friend who is. Or better still, arrange for an independent inspection by one of the motoring organisations like the AA or RAC. Another option is to try your hand at an auction, certainly the cheapest place for used cars. They're not the automobile abattoirs they used to be, and the vast majority do fair and honest business. Trouble is, you have to buy the car as seen, and you don't get any warranty. So you'll need nerves of steel and the instant decision-making skills of a fighter pilot. Not recommended unless you know exactly what you're doing. Dropping a clanger at a car auction can cost monster money.
So what happens if you don't want to risk buying privately and don't fancy chancing your arm at an auction? Well, like scores of other used car buyers, you're going to have to go to a dealer. But before you cross over that threshold, just check out the site for a minute. Is it neat and orderly? Are the cars well prepared? Are they misted up with condensation, with flat tyres? Is the office a lopsided caravan? Look at the signage as well. Things like the Retail Motor Industry Federation.
If the garage concerned is a member, it'll be monitored to ensure it matches up to the organisation's standards. If possible, choose a manufacturer's franchise dealer. They'll have special expertise and facilities, and it's comforting to think that with the manufacturer's resources behind them, they're unlikely to disappear overnight.
Short term, the dealer route may be the most expensive, but in the package you'll get advice from properly trained professionals, a bulletproof warranty, part exchange facilities, after-sales backup, and the option of finance. One of the beauties of buying from an operation like this is that there will have been an army of dedicated professionals beavering away on the car before it even so much as sees the inside of the showroom. They will have done all the donkey work, making sure that your purchase is easy, convenient and stress-free.
To start with, they'll have checked to see that there's no possible dispute about the legal ownership of the car. They'll make sure you get clean title. If the car's had a suspiciously rapid change of ownership, say a couple of owners in 6 months, they'll find out why. To check that the car hasn't been written off and that there's no finance outstanding, the dealership will ring a specialist agency, Hire Purchase Information plc. If you have decided to buy privately, you might be interested in contacting HPI yourself. Their services are available to the general public for a fee of £15, payable by credit card. Their telephone number is 0722 422 422. Even a fully stamped service history may turn out to be pure fiction, so the dealers will make sure their people look out for signs of forgery, however subtle. If you don't buy through a franchise dealer, you'll have to check all this yourself.
And the gutter motor trade don't stop at just forging service histories. Some of them deliberately seek out high-mileage cars so they can magically turn them into low-mileage cars, thereby doubling their value overnight. Winding back a car's odometer, or clocking as it's known, is on the increase. Trading standards officers tell us that 1 in 4 used cars sold in this country has, at some time or another, been clocked. And the problem is most acute, apparently, in the private sector. So if you're planning to trawl through those scrambled blocks of type in the classified ads, be on your guard. While you're actually sitting in the thing, take some time to look at the speedometer binnacle. Look around the perimeters to see if there are any scratches which might suggest that it's been prized out. At the top here, there are usually 2 screws that hold the speedometer into the dashboard. Look to see if they've been burred by the action of a screwdriver. Check too that the digits are level. Sometimes the clockers don't line them up properly. So if there's any slightest suggestion that the speedometer might have been taken out of the car, you need to ask why. Inspecting used cars is all about looking at visible surfaces. The fact that this steering wheel is shiny smooth means that many hands have piloted it many thousands of miles. Same thing with this super smooth gear knob. Another good trick is to take the inertia reel seatbelt, pull it out and see how long it takes to ravel itself up. If it takes a long time, it's old and worn. Another thing is this flabby and frayed seat. All these things point to a Starship mileage, and it's in the interior of the car that you'll spot these vital clues.
Reputable dealers will run a mile from clocked cars. They can be prosecuted for selling them, no matter who did the clocking. Some franchise dealers, like Citroen's used car operation Hallmark, employ independent mileage checking agencies to do the detective work for them. VMC was set up by former trading standards officer Graham Allen.
We receive the vehicle registration documents from the dealership, we write to the previous keepers with a simple questionnaire, and we collate that information into the form of vehicle report. Since the 1st of July of 1993, we have been receiving from the DVLA data sourced from the registration documents, and every night we receive between 4,000 and 6,000 mileage references down line from the DVLA. Every vehicle which comes through vehicle mileage check for a search is now automatically checked against that data, in addition to our normal procedures. Vehicle Mileage Check Limited is a mandatory part of the Citroen Hallmark used car programme. It's interesting to know that since we first started working with them, at that time, the percentage of clocked vehicles coming through the vehicle mileage check system was something like 3.1%. That has now decreased. It is now 2.7%. Because obviously, if a person has knowledge that a vehicle has a false mileage, he is less likely to take it into a dealership which is operating an independent mileage checking system such as VMC.
A word of caution though, by no means all dealers, even if they're franchised, regularly use this kind of mileage checking agency, so be sure to ask before you buy. The final vetting stage is a stem-to-stern inspection up on the ramps. Hallmark put each car through a multi-point check to satisfy both themselves and the prospective purchaser that all is well.
So you're happy with the car, what about the people selling it? Good dealers take the long-term view. They want to build a happy and meaningful relationship with their customers, so they train their staff properly.
Good salesmen don't hassle you. They'll wait for you to seek advice. Don't be pressurized, and remember that list of priorities you drew up when you started out. Don't forget that if the dealer doesn't have the car you want in stock, he may be able to find you one. And just because a dealership is franchised, that shouldn't mean that they'll only sell the one make of car. At Hallmark, for instance, you'll be able to choose from a wide range of other manufacturers' cars, as well as Citroens. There's no need to compromise. The world is full of used cars, so wait until they find you the one you really want. When you're buying any car, you must always negotiate, because if you don't ask, you won't get. And if you've got another car to sell, think about advertising it privately. That way you might get more money. Against that, you'll be faced with the hassle of having to place an ad and hanging round for buyers to turn up, or not, as the case may be.
If you do decide to take the part exchange route, remember that a toothbrush-type valet will add up to £200 to the price you'll get, so give it a good wash and brush up before you take it to the showroom.
Never buy a car without getting the seller to take you for a test drive first. That way you'll have an expert at your shoulder to answer all those difficult questions. A proper test drive doesn't just mean a quick spin round the block, but 20 minutes of mixed driving. You'll need to know that you'll actually feel comfortable in the thing. It might sound daft, but to some people, an intimidating test drive is something they'd rather do from home when they've already bought the car.
I'd just like to go through the paperwork, if I may. We'll go through the warranty and your 14-day exchange agreement, if I can.
What does the warranty actually mean?
OK, let's just give you the main benefits. Now,
Ask plenty of questions. For instance, not all warranties are the same, so check to see that the one you're offered includes features like breakdown recovery, hotel expenses and continental cover.
Okay, let's just go through the 14
One of the great advantages of buying through a franchise dealer is that you needn't drive off the forecourt with that sinking feeling that you might have made a ghastly mistake. Switched-on dealers have realised that customers ought to be given time to make up their minds, and some will even exchange the car if any problems do come to light.
Those then are your options. If you've got the time, the experience and the appetite for a chase, then you can certainly find a cheap motor in the classifieds or at an auction. But if, like thousands, millions even, of other people, you find the whole business just a wee bit daunting, if you want the peace of mind of mileage verification, of a multi-point check, of a warranty and a 14-day exchange scheme, then go to a dealer you can trust, like this Hallmark operation. It'll cost you less in the long run. Take it from me, buying a second-hand car needn't be a nightmare. So good luck and good hunting.